Now, any of y'all noticed that since I started the season change message, we've gone from snow on the ground to heat. Somebody better give God some praise in this house. It was about 4 Sundays ago, they were saying, Pastor, what should we do? I was like, we had the heat on and the air conditioning. Because it was like hot, cold. I was like, just turn them both on. We're just going to let Jesus do his thing. But we are going to wrap up this series on Seasons Change today. I would encourage you to do this. Go back on YouTube. How many of y'all follow our YouTube page? Amen. Just a big shout out. We have quadrupled our number of followers on YouTube over the last 30 days. We have people in other countries going, FLC is my church. I want some FLC gear. We were like, okay, God, you're doing something. You know, I had to, one of the things about Seasons Change, one thing I had to do is pre-pandemic, I had to change how I was seeing church. I really did. I had to change because I was used to a certain way, like every seat's full and we need this and we have overflow rooms and da-da-da. But then we started having 100 people watch online or 200 people watch online. And I was like, so we actually had more people online watching service than we had in here. So if they got God, I think that's good, right? So I had to alter how I was thinking to open up and go, okay, God, however you want to do it. So as we close out this series, I want you to dive in with me this morning. All right, come on in. You pull with me because we're going to get something out of this. Well, Father, I thank you again for this opportunity to speak the word. None of Chris, God, but all of you. That, Father, as I open my mouth, you will fill it. You already know what's going on in the hearts and the lives of the people. So, Father, let the word be good news. That's what you said it is. Bring good news this morning. Father, confirm a word, confirm a vision, confirm an idea in their heart, because you are the God who can do it. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So we've been talking about seasons change. This week, I'm talking about take your opportunity when it arrives. So when your opportunity for your season to change shows up, take your opportunity. Soon as the sun kind of came out, it was still 50 degrees, but the sun was out. People in Minnesota was in shorts and flip-flops. Y'all, you've seen them. You've seen them. There was still snow on the ground in the parking lot. People was out there. I was like, it's still cold. But they were like, this is my opportunity, so I'm taking it, right? I told you this. This is our foundation scripture in Ecclesiastes. For everything, there is a season. Don't panic. You're going to have some winter seasons and some spring seasons. So if I know that there are going to be seasons, I don't panic. I just embrace. That's somebody should tweet that. I don't run from my seasons. I embrace them. Okay? It says, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance. Where are you and what season are you in? Are you tearing down? Are you building up? Are you grieving? Are you laughing? Are you planting or are you harvesting? The other thing that God has really been dealing with me, he's like, but I can be doing different seasons in different parts of your life. I might be planting in my marriage, but I may be harvesting in my business. He can do things in different ways. He's God. There is none like him. You are trying to put a king in a box. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this really quick. See, the problem with some of us, we don't recognize him as a king. And I read this many years ago, and I never forgot this story. I've shared it maybe a couple times over the past few years. But there was a golf pro who was a golfer, and this guy who was a king in Saudi Arabia heard about him and was following him and said, man, I would like for you to come and teach me golf and play golf with me. So he sends for this golf pro goes over to Saudi Arabia. He's a king. Y'all think, there's different types of money in different parts of the world. And so it was real king life. So he goes, he stays in this palace. The golf pro is teaching this king all this information about golf, and they're having a great time. At the end of the week, he's walking him to his private plane to send the golf pro back to the United States. And the king says to him, hey, what can I do for you? And he was like, oh my gosh, you've been great. This has been amazing. He goes, no, I want to give you a gift. What kind of gift could I give you? And he was like, no, seriously, king, you've been amazing. But then it says the golf pro started to realize he was actually offending the king. Watch that. He started offending the king. So then the king said, anything? And then the golf pro says, well, I collect golf clubs. I like those. And he was like, great. He gets on the plane. He says his goodbyes. He flies back to the United States. While he was flying back, the golf pro was wondering, man, I wonder what kind of club is it going to be? He's a king. Is it going to be like 14 karat gold? Is it going to be like encrusted with diamonds? He said he was just wondering. A few days pass, a week passes, 2 weeks pass, and he was like, interesting. He said, well, I'm not going to really trip about it. I thought he was going to send something, blah. So one day, he gets a knock on the door of a certified letter. Knocks on the door, signs for it, and he opens the envelope, and it's from the king. And the king says, here it is, I have bought you a golf club. He bought him an entire golf club, an 18-hole country club. And the golf pro said he was shocked. The point of the story is kings think differently than we do. He was thinking like a mortal man, but a king thinks on a whole nother level. How dare you put your king in a box and tell him, well, can you do this? He's like, I think bigger than that. I think on a whole nother level than that. And what I want you to realize is you have to stay with God sometimes long enough to give him this opportunity to do it. But today in Seasons Change, I'm going to end with this. Take your opportunity when it arrives. An opportunity is going to come for you to change seasons. Are you going to take it? Are you going to take it? Are you going to be the same student you've been? Are you going to be the same person over here in your job? Or are you going to take an opportunity? Are you done being sad? You're like, I've been sad for this season. I'm going to take my opportunity to go somewhere else. Okay? So I wanted to do something different. Have you ever felt disqualified while I'm doing some of these sermons? Like you come to church and you listen to me talk, and I know you say every Sunday, he is sharp, he's so cute. I'm married, leave me alone, stop it, I'm married. But great info, right? You hear and you come and you're like, man, the information is great, I love it. But do you feel sometimes like you're on the outside of the sermon? You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever heard somebody else's miracle and you've been like, I'm so happy for you. That's great, God did that for you, that's awesome. But you don't feel like you're the one who qualifies. Does that make sense? So this sermon is for you. This sermon is for you who feel like I'm hearing it, but I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if that's really about me. So here's what happens. Last week I talked about Jericho, right? And I told you the story of Joshua. Joshua took over for Moses. So Moses was this great man of God, freed the Israelites, got them out. He winds up dying. The succession plan, or the person who fills his spot, was Joshua. And after Joshua fills his spot, the first thing he does, he runs into a situation where he has to fight Jericho. Jericho is this huge city with these huge walls surrounding it. I told you the walls were big enough where they did chariot races on the outside of the walls. People lived inside of the walls. It was a protection of the city. So last week, for those of you who are really saved, who came last week, only the folks that came last week laughing. Other folks are like, wait, I was saved. What happened was I had to cook because it was late. Anyway, but here's what happened. I told you at the end of the story, they marched around the city 7 times, and here's what it says in Joshua 6:20. When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the walls collapsed, so everyone charged straight in, they took over the city. So again, there's a whole lot that goes on before that. But today I want to talk to you about how God can be taking care of somebody in the middle of the other miracle that's going on. If you've ever felt like you don't qualify for the miracle, let this sermon help you. If you've ever felt like, I'm not really sure. If you've told yourself, maybe this isn't me. Well, I'm getting ready to show you someone who is disqualified. By all terms, you're going to say, oh, yeah, she shouldn't be saved. She shouldn't even come to the church. It's unequivocal. She's going to be an unequivocal sinner. You're going to be like, she came to church? So God really does love everybody. So here's what happens. We have to go now. So remember, this is Joshua 6. So if you're reading a chapter in the book, you're in the 6th chapter. I just told you about the walls falling and all this other stuff, or 5th chapter. Now I want to go back to the 1st chapter before all of that happens. Joshua was just getting ready to go and take Jericho, and he's just coming into the land. He's just got promoted to his new job. And here's what happened. So Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent out from Shittim, where they were standing, 2 men as spies. He said to them, hey, go look over the land and check out Jericho. They left and arrived at the house of a harlot named Rahab. Now, for some of y'all who are like, now, it's a harlot. Now, is a harlot? Is that her? Did her mama name a harlot with an accent? No. Prostitute. Night walker. Street keep. No, I'm just playing. Y'all, look, y'all was going with me. Say it, Pastor. Leave it alone. Y'all so saved. Some of y'all walking different streets getting paid for different. Anyway, let's move on. Because some of y'all doing for a Happy Meal what they were doing for money. Listen, Joshua Some of y'all got that. Some of y'all got it. Okay. But Joshua says to these two spies, he says, hey, we're going to go to this other land. But he goes, go spy it out. Just go see what's going on. And in one translation, he says, especially go check out Jericho. So these two spies leave all of the people, and they go out, and they're spying, and they're sneaking in this city. When they get to this city, they arrived at the house of a harlot or a prostitute, and her name was Rahab, and stayed there. No, they didn't. Now, just because they stayed there didn't mean they did something. Some of you, I'm just helping some of you. And the king of Jericho was told, hey, we just learned that men arrived tonight to spy out the land. They're from the people of Israel. And the king of Jericho sent word to Rahab. So the king heard that these guys came, and then he goes and says, hey, go see Rahab and see if she knows where these guys are. And they said, the king of Jericho sent word to Rahab, bring out the men who came to you to stay the night in your house. They're spies. They've come to spy out the whole country. And the woman had taken the two men and had hidden them. When your opportunity to change your season comes, take it. When it's knocking on your door, take the opportunity to change your season. Something is going on in Rahab that she was like, yeah, I'm a prostitute. You can call me a harlot, but I see an opportunity to get out when I know it. So the woman had taken the two men, hid them. And then she said to the king's men, yes, two men did come to me, but I didn't know where they come from. At dark, when the gate was about to shut, the men left. But I have no idea where they went. Hurry up, chase them. You can still catch them. Lying for the right reason. She had actually taken them up on the roof and hidden them under the stalks of flax where they spread out on her roof. So she tells the king and his men, yeah, they were here, but they're gone. You need to hurry up and go get them. But she was actually hiding them. So the king's men went looking for the spies along the road leading to the shallow crossings of the Jordan, where this is a river again. We talked about this last week. But they get to the river, and they're looking for the men because they know they're coming from this way to this way. It's just a map. If you left Egypt and they know they're coming this way and they're starting to hear about things happening, they knew they had to come to Jericho. So that's why the king was looking for them. Have you ever known somebody's about to come start some mess? You already know they're coming with it. So anyway, so the king's men went looking for them at the shallow crossings of the Jordan River. And as soon as the king's men had left, the gate of Jericho was shut. Before the spies went to sleep that night, Rahab went up to the roof to talk with them. And she says to them, I know the Lord has given you this land. Rahab is preaching. Y'all better read me that. Rahab has come up with a word. Rahab went up to the roof like, I know God has given you this land. Rahab said, listen, I know something is going on. Watch what she says. She says, I know the Lord has given you this land, she told them. We are all afraid of you. She goes, all of Jericho is afraid of you. Everyone in this land is living in terror. For we have heard how the Lord had made a dry path for you through the Red Sea when you left Egypt. Let me tell you something. I told you last week, your reputation precedes you. This is why you show up in places and you're like, people are hating on me. You know what? They're hating on you because of what they heard about you. People are intimidated by your greatness. People are intimidated by your brilliance. That's why these two spies was coming to check out the land, and she's telling them, we heard, we already know. I already know what God can do. Isn't it amazing how a sinner can see God at action in your life? I'm telling you, what I believe God is getting ready to do in your life, some stuff that even sinners have to say, I know God did that. I know that had to be God. There's one time in my job, I was always competing in sales, and there was a team of us managers, if you will, competing. So this one guy, he wasn't nice. I'm going to leave it at that. And so whatever I did, he always was going to the boss, well, Chris is doing, is that legal? And Chris is doing, could his team do that? And my boss was like, yeah. So I knew he was always trying to get me. But time had passed, and he was leading by far everybody. I came over, took a team, they were down here. He was up here. But over the months, I started catching up. I told you, faith in the process. See, when I was moving up 2 or 3 spots from 45, and he was number 2, he wasn't really tripping. When I got in them teens, and then when I was getting into 10, and then I was 9, and he was 2, all of a sudden, he started having more stuff. I'm Chris, I don't know if this is fair, But when I beat him and won, And I was standing in this huge ballroom, and they brought me on stage, and I'm serious, the screen was as big as this, and my thing was back there. Jori was pregnant with Jai. She was standing up. They gave me a trophy. I'm serious, about half the size of my body. Y'all know how tall I am. It was a huge trophy. It's huge. But this guy came up to me, and he said this. No, when my boss called me to the stage to introduce me to win the award, he said, what's interesting about this award tonight, and if you've ever been in corporate America, they do this thing where they talk around it, so you don't know who won yet. This person has done this. And you're like, is it me? I don't know. It could be, you know. And he said, but it was like it was prophetic. Because he came to my office when he took the job, and he said, this time next year, I'll be winning this award. And he said, I honestly thought Chris was a little, and he slipped up. He said, oh, I've said it. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year is Chris Thibodeaux, and I started coming to the stage, and everybody was clapping. When I got off, this guy, who was the one always coming after, he came up to me, he said, man, only God could have helped you do this. Not saved, not saved. He was not saved. But when God does something in your life in such a way that even the devil has to go, nah, I know that's God. That's how God works. I know how God do stuff. God will take a little, make a lot out of it. God will take somebody from the bottom and bring them to the top. He said the last will be first and the first shall be last. God done got in this boy's life and fixed this thing. I'm speaking to somebody that God is getting ready to come into your life and turn some stuff around. You are getting ready to live your best life. What? Are you tripping off of people, girls? Live your life. Make your products, braid that hair, cut that hair, do whatever you got to do. But I'm telling you this, your reputation's going to get out. And a prostitute is talking to two men of God saying, I know about you. I know God has given this to you. And then she says, I know he parted the Red Sea. I heard about it. And we know what you did to Sihon and Og, which were other two kingdoms. She says, we know. And then we heard y'all cross the Jordan River, whose people you completely destroyed. Somebody's running back their testimony for them. So the two spies are listening, and Rahab's telling them all this, and they already know at this point she could have given them up, but she didn't. And she says, no wonder our hearts have melted in fear. No wonder everybody's scared in here, because we know the God that you have is bigger than the God we have. This is Rahab, a prostitute who does not deserve to be saved. But remind you now, this is before the big miracle happens of the walls falling down. This is on the front end. She's telling them this. And then here's what she says. She says, no one has the courage to fight after hearing such things. She said to them, listen, I know y'all worried about a fight. We scared. We're not going to fight you all. We scared. We know how big your God is. We won't be fighting you. For the Lord your God is the supreme God of the heavens above and the earth below. I am telling you, a prostitute is able to recognize and comprehend this is God. Whew. I've come to tell those of you who feel like you're in a situation that doesn't qualify to be saved. What I'm asking you to do is open your eyes and mouth and say, nah, I'm reading this stuff about God. Nah, I hear people coming to church and testifying. Nah, I know somebody who's supposed to be sick who's now living. Nah, I was supposed to get fired, but I still got the job. Nah, I was supposed to die during COVID, but I'm still living. Nah, I don't know. There might be something to this God thing. She says, your God is the supreme God of the heavens above and the earth below. And then she says, now do me this. Swear to me by the Lord that you will be kind to me and my family since I have helped you. Give me some guarantee that when Jericho is conquered, now wait a minute, they out spying. They haven't even attacked yet. But she is prophesying. I know God is getting ready to do something amazing in your life. And all I'm asking you to do is when you get it, hook me up. When you get the promotion, pull me with you. When you get blessed, write me a check. When you go to the top, get me a spot. When Jericho was conquered, she said, you will let me live, along with my father and my mother and my brothers and my sister and all their families. She's like, listen, I've done something nice for you. I need you to do something nice for me. And it says this, the two spies responded, we offer our own lives as a guarantee for your safety. This is what the men agreed. What a prostitute. Somebody and she ain't been cleaned up yet. She ain't been baptized. She didn't get her shirt says, I've been dipped at FLC. She still looked like a harlot. She still smelled like a harlot. And her house may have been filled with harlot things. Harlot customers. But when you can recognize God, I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how many times in my life where I've been in situations where people have been doing something that would not qualify them for salvation. But they have called me out. My kids can tell you. We'll be at, a store, and all of a sudden I walk down, Pastor Chris, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, Lord, bless the Lord. Can I help you? You don't understand. I'm like, they're going to think I hit you. Stand up. Come on, get up. Get up now. And people are desperate, right? I was with my dad one time, and we went to somebody's situation. How can I say this? They were doing stuff with white powder at the house. It wasn't a barbecue, but there was a lot of boiling going on. Okay, yeah, some of y'all, if not Google later, you're going to go, oh, there was aha. And my dad walked in like, he didn't even see it. Well, how y'all doing? Good to see you. He said, so-and-so called. And the guy was like, Pastor, I need to get out of this. I need help. While the stuff was going on around, my dad said, that's all right, come over here. Let's pray right now. He was like, I don't even want to be doing this anymore. I want to get out of this situation. I don't want to be in this situation ever again. My point is, if you can recognize God, then you have the opportunity to change your season. The good thing you have, you're here today. You get to change your season before you get too far into a situation. They said, listen, we offer up our own lives. We guarantee that you'll be safe. And he said, if you don't betray us, we will keep our promise and be kind to you when the Lord gives us the land. I'm talking about faith. The spies are talking about a battle they're going to win that they haven't started. She is telling them they're going to win a battle they haven't started fighting. I've come to tell somebody you're going to win the battle you haven't even started fighting yet. You're going to come out on top of something you haven't even dealt with yet. I don't care what the diagnosis is. Your God is bigger than a diagnosis. He can change a season of sickness just like that. Y'all, you getting out there now. Well, listen, if you can knock on wood and you can click your heels 3 times and you can walk around with a foot of a rabbit hanging from your waist, I have the right to say I believe God can do anything but fail me. I have the same right. You get to do that, rub your crystal, great. But I'm going to rub on Jesus and I'm going to say, God, I know you're going to show up. They said to her, we'll be kind to you. Tip number 1 I want you to take is she took her opportunity to get out of her current season. I'm knocking on some of your doors right now. I'm saying, hey, here's an opportunity. Stop thinking that way now. Okay, it's been like that. She's already been living this life, but now it's time for a change in her season. So then time fast forward. So again, if you're reading the book now, that was in 1. So now we're all the way to 6. All right? So this is when Jericho walls fall. So they march around 7 times. The horn would sound. Then all of a sudden they shout, and the walls collapse, and the Israelites charge straight into the city. So while this is going on, imagine all the commotion, right? Millions and millions of people. They've been marching around in silence for 7 times around this building. And on the 7th one, dun, 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 everybody, he goes, now. Everybody goes, all the walls come down. Commotion going on everywhere. Chaos. They're running into the city to take it over. But watch this. They completely destroyed everything in it when they got in the city. Men, women, young and old, cattle, sheep, goats, and donkeys. Old school Bible don't play. It was like, kill everything that does not represent Christ. So they're killing everything. Chaos is going on. Meanwhile, while everything's going on, Joshua says, hey, spies, keep your promise. Go to the prostitute's house and bring her out along with all her family. What I've come to tell you is this. In the middle of the other miracle that you didn't feel like you were qualified for, God can find a way to qualify you and come get you. I mean, because come on, okay, have any of us had friends who they blew up a little bit, they came up a little bit? You know what I mean by that? Like, they got a better job moving on up to the east side, to that deluxe apartment. I am not that old. I am not the oldest person in this room. So some of y'all acting like y'all don't know the song. You was watching it on Tuesday night with me. Moving on up. My point is, have you ever had somebody, they get a little something, and they always say, but when I blow up, man, I got you. And then they blow up. Don't know your name, don't know your number no more. Oh, you knew my number when you needed that money for that company. Wouldn't it have been really easy for Joshua to be like, what harlot? We already won. We're already winning. We're already there. But because they pulled God into this situation, God will not break a promise. See, people lie. People change their mind. People get a little money and act funny. People get a little bit of money and act funny. People get one new car, they don't know you. The loan ain't even paid for. They driving by, beep, beep, boo, boo, you just paid for it right like me. But God won't forget you. In the middle of all this commotion, he goes, go, 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 go. It doesn't even say the woman's name. Go get the prostitute, right? And then it says save her whole family. But here's the big thing that I just want to shake you with. After she gets out, that woman, Rahab, gets her life together and marries a dude named Solomon. Let me tell some of you, when your season changes, you can get the next blessing he has promised for you. But if you don't change the season, you can't get what's next. So stop saying God is not showing up. He's like, I showed up. You in the old season, I'm in the new season. So she gets out. Now let me tell you something. Didn't everybody know she was a prostitute? Didn't everybody know she was a harlot? You know when she came out, because she was dressed like the Jericho people. You know when somebody come over and you be like, where's she from? What tribe you come from? With your hair up like that. We don't do it like that over here. Don't you think people saw that? So here she caught up, but see, when you've ever been free, you be so happy, you be like, I don't care. Y'all can talk about me. I'm out, girl. I almost got killed back here. Rahab was like, I wish you would. You don't know what happened. My family here too. We good. Y'all come on. You know how people do. Get behind me. Come on, y'all with me. Get behind me. Let's go. Rahab messed around and got out and married a man somebody else wanted. Uh-oh. That slipped out. Some of y'all be married now if you'd have married the one God brought. Listen, Salmon married Rahab. Then Rahab had a son named Boaz. Boaz married a woman named Ruth, who was another woman who was forgotten and left behind, whose other husband who had died, who had to change a season. She moved to a whole nother country because she follows her mother-in-law to her maiden land. I'm telling you what God will do in your season when you change. So now married Ruth, and then Ruth had a son named Obed, and then he had a son named Jesse, and then Jesse had a son named David. Then David becomes king. And then King David had a son named Solomon. And then if you follow Solomon's line, he eventually has a son named Joseph. And that Joseph is who married Mary, who had a son named Jesus. This means a woman who was a prostitute, who decided to change her life around. A woman who said, yeah, I know the season I'm in, and I know y'all want to keep me here, but I have moved on. Tell somebody, I'm moving to a different season. No, come on. Tell somebody, I'm about to move to a different season. And then tell them this, don't judge me. Don't judge my past. Look at my future. This woman, who was a prostitute, now becomes part of the lineage of bringing Jesus Christ to the world. Who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought that could work? Who could have ever thought this prostitute? Now, I don't think today, because of some travel, my aunt's here. My Aunt Shirley's here. Aunt Shirley, raise your hand. This is my aunt. This is my mom's sister. My parents got married at 15 and 16 in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm going to let that sink in. 15 and 16, right? They get married because, kind of like Jesus, there was a baby on the way. So my dad did the right thing with my mom when my brother was on the way. They get married. When I say get married, Auntie Shirley, did they not move? They moved out of both of their parents' house and got an apartment. 15 and 16, right? And people were like, you barefoot, pregnant, you're not in the richest part of New Orleans. They started writing my parents off, and my dad was a good track runner. He got a track scholarship to Dillard University. My mom said, well, we both can't go, so they stayed married. First of all, I'm sorry, they had my brother. Then by the time my dad was 19, he's graduating high school. I come along, which was a blessing. And so then they've been married for 3 years. Then they go through college together, right? And then my dad gets into the military. And then after the military, this company named Honeywell said, we want to move you to Minnesota. So we moved up here to Minnesota. And all along, they're just breaking these odds. My dad, when he was 20, he had a nervous breakdown 19 in school because he was a trash man. I'm talking about old school trash man, where you ride the back, jump off, put the trash in, put it back on the truck. You know what I'm talking about? Going to school, running track full time, holding a scholarship. My mom's working 2 or 3 jobs to take care of us. And we moved into the projects of New Orleans, but they had just gotten opened, so my parents thought they were brand new condos. True story. Now, they don't look like that right now. They look a little different now. But what I'm trying to tell you is this. Everybody said, now, y'all can't make it. But I remember my mom and dad telling us a story when they went to get the second apartment. This lady said, in the apartment complex, she said, well, come on in. She said, and my mom had my brother. I think she was still pregnant with me. And the lady said, so y'all want an apartment? And they were like, yes. She was like, what, do you have jobs? No, not yet. She was like, okay. And she looked at my dad and said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to college, and I'm majoring in accounting. And then we're like, okay. So she took the application my mom said, and she said, just put y'all's name at the top. And after she said, here, I'm going to put this over here in this file cabinet. She said, Rufus, you just stay in school. She said, we'll take care of the rent. Y'all just stay in school. My mom got 2 jobs, right? It was the projects in New Orleans, so everybody wasn't living a godly life. But my mom and dad said the drug dealers and the pimps would come by and be like, hey, Rufus, here, y'all get the kids some food. Hey, you got your books? Bruh, you got your, come on now, here. My dad said all of a sudden, it was just people were providing. They weren't even saved yet. They weren't really in the church yet. But I tell you that to say so many things happened from that point to this point. And when we would go back to New Orleans every once in a while, or when my brother went to go to Dillard University, where my dad graduated from, people, and this was before Facebook and all this stuff, so people were like, yo, we hearing y'all doing all right. We heard you done open a business, and you're a pastor now, and you're a chaplain for the Minneapolis Police Department, both of y'all? You opened the first 24-hour child care center in the state of Minnesota? What? You done sent both your kids to school? And y'all still married from 15 to 16, and it's going on 50 years? Y'all been married for 50 years? I've come to tell you, I'm not just talking about Rahab. I'm telling you about the Thibodeaux household, that I know God can come in your life and spare you and bring you somewhere. Woo! And one time before my dad passed 7 years ago. I had not moved here yet. I had just gotten a job in this company, and I had to bring my whole region together for a meeting. So hundreds of people, and it just worked out that when I took the job, my boss said, well, Chris, anywhere in the Midwest, it's your team. I said, well, let's have it in Minneapolis. And he said, okay, great, whatever you want to do. So I flew my whole team here, all my managers, all the salespeople, people from the headquarters, people from Belgium came. It was this huge meeting downtown. And in the meeting, I did my spiel, and at the end of the meeting, I said, well, listen, before we go today, I said, it was my first time meeting everyone. I said, I want you to meet my wife. This is Jori. So Jori came in. Giant Coach Corey was little. I was literally holding her in my arms. And we got in front of my whole team. And I was like, well, this is my reason. This is why I'm going to get up early. This is why I'm going to fly across country. This is why I'm going to work hard, because I'm taking care of these. And then I had my parents walk in the room. And I said, these are my parents, and I wouldn't be here. And see, what nobody else knew in that room. But my dad said afterwards, he said, son, he said, I knew what you were doing, but to be here today and see you in your element. And all these people are running up, Chris, can I have, Chris, thank you, Chris, this is awesome, Chris, can I get a raise, Chris, can I get promoted? My dad's like, but if I had given up, when somebody told me, you don't deserve nothing better than this, you done got this girl pregnant, you're 15 years old, it's over, but when God has his hand on your life, so I'm telling somebody today, you may not be fighting for you. You might be all right, but maybe the fighting you're doing is for the generation to come. Maybe there is somebody that's going to come from your lineage 2 and 3 generations down. But if you don't stand up and say, is this my opportunity to change seasons? You're getting ready to mess up. You're lying. Change your season. Opportunity comes, you go, this is my chance. I'm getting this degree. Now I'm getting this degree. No, I'm taking this job. No, I'm opening this business. No, I'm going to go to the top. No, they can say what they want. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going. They gave me this diagnosis, but God is my healer. I'm going to keep believing. I'm going to keep standing because I'm not giving up, because there may be a Jesus in my lineage. There may be a Savior coming to my family. There may be a way out that I don't know about. So if I got to stand and let people can laugh at me all they want, but I'm going to keep moving. Change your season. Rock yourself this morning and go, wait a minute. You know how many times my parents had to say that? Wait a minute. Well, we still going to make it. We still going to overcome. We still going to do it. And then here I am. This ministry's been around 40 years. I mean, I get phone calls. In the corporate sector, people are like, hey, you want to come? I got a nice phone call last year. Nice. I came and told Jori, I said, well, here, I'm going to let you hold my phone and read it. And she started reading about this job opportunity, and the person said, you ain't even got an interview. We just want you to come run the company. And Jori said, okay. And it got to the number where they started saving the numbers. And if y'all know my wife, she's a number person. She said, oh, no, take it. She literally should take it. No. She said, because if I start doing these numbers, it's going to be too hard to say no. I have churches call and be like, hey, you doing church? Just come over and take over our church. It's already done. It's big, ready. You have an office. And I remember one of them, I said, Jesus, this sounds like you. I was here yesterday planting flowers myself. I'm like, I could have a planting flower group. I could have somebody valeting my car at this other church. Jesus. But see, I got to birth an Obed in this room. I got to birth a David in this room. And if I go get myself in the wrong place, in the wrong time, in the wrong season, it may look right, but I'm not going to produce fruit. So I'm willing to say, okay, God, well, here I am. I'm going to do what you say do. But then when I hear the testimonies coming out of some of y'all's mouths, when I hear what's going on in your life, when I hear how you took that hit and got back up, then I'm like, God, I'll keep coming every Sunday. I'll keep preaching every Sunday. I'll stand, I'll walk, I'll talk, I'll breathe, I'll live it. But I know this, you won't fail me just like you didn't fail Rahab. If you got some out the word this morning, give God some praise. Woo! Come on. I was joking with some of the guys earlier this morning, and they said, how you doing, Pastor? And I said, I'm living what I'm preaching. Meaning, I gotta live off the same word I'm preaching to you. Right? I have my moments. I have my seasons. But I was laying in the bed this morning, and I was like, I feel like my season is changing. I literally feel like something's happening. I can see stuff budding up from the ground. I'm like, things are about to happen. I know some stuff. I feel some stuff. I got some stuff in place. I know I planted some seeds that should be producing right about now. The question is, are you ready to change your season? For some of you, this is the first message you've heard today. Some of you have heard the whole series, right? You've heard me for 4 weeks. But now you have to just make a choice. Literally, you got to go, okay, that's it. Winter's over. I got to get my new clothes out. I got to switch clothes over. I got to get ready for the season God is bringing me. And where is God bringing you? Where is he taking you? Take this opportunity today to be like, you know what, God, I'm with you. You know what, God, I'm with you. I'm changing seasons. Can you close your eyes for just 1 minute?